Hello, everybody, and welcome to our daily check-in. I needed a mental break from work, so I came outside to make my video, which is probably like, I don't know, 7 something at night. So I wanted to talk to you about something that I'm personally experiencing now that I thought I would share and hopefully give you a little life lesson out of it. So over the summer, I work for a company that trains teachers. And part of that is we teach them about social emotional learning and infusing academics. It's that concept of teaching really the whole child, because we know that kids, if they're not, if we don't make an effort to understand them from their emotional needs, it's very hard for them to learn. And if you had me as a teacher, hopefully some of the lessons that we've done or some of these videos, you can see that that's very important to me. Putting that aside. So when I present, it's 4 days. I think it's probably maybe 160 to 200 pages of notes that I have to disseminate in some form or fashion to the participants, and some tomorrow because it's supposed to be in New York City, even though obviously that's a no. It's all virtual. But some of them are from Canada, different, all up and down the East Coast. I know in some of my colleagues' groups, there's people all the way far away from Panama that are signing in. So it's kind of cool. And so I want to talk about the various steps and processes that it goes through in order to do this and explain to you how these are things that you should be thinking about as life skills. The first one is to be organized. I know that a lot of times, students I've had in the past are like, oh, I have a hard time doing my homework, I have a hard time studying. Either they're in their room, music blaring, none of their supplies around, or they're on the kitchen table, and it's just like pure chaos. So it's always important to find a place that you can work to do your best work. And in my situation, where I'm working in our living room, I had to make sure that everything I need was in the appropriate spot. So my organization was I need to make sure that everything is physically where it needs to be, even if it means having a coat rack on my desk. That's right, a coat rack on my desk. Not next to it, not in front of it, not on the side of it, but on it. So I could tape things all up and down. It's insane. But that is something that I needed to keep me organized. And the reason why organization is so important is because if you're organized and you think about what you need to do to be organized, you're less likely to have things slip through the cracks. So if you're working on a big project for school, the first thing is, do I have all my supplies? Where am I putting them? Where can I work? And when is the due date? All those things. You want to make sure you're organized, whether you're writing things in your agenda or whatever. And the same thing if you want to like reorganize your room. When I was a kid, I always used to love reorganize my room. Actually, my wife always jokes that I like to reorganize the house all the time. But reorganizing a room, I'd have to visually think about, well, where do I put things? How does this go here? Will that work? And organization could be bringing a measuring tape. So just keep that in mind. Organization is really important. Now, the second piece is being prepared. When I first started teaching, I remember thinking, like, I know American history. I mean, I took American history classes. I took them in college. I know exactly what I'm doing. So I was very overconfident until I realized, yes, I knew certain content, but I didn't know how to teach. I didn't know how to deliver the material. So I had to learn. I had to find people who were really good at things. I had to watch other teachers. I had to read books. I had to do all these things. That was also the effort piece, but being prepared is very important. And what's funny is when I usually prepare for my summer job, I'd walk around my hotel room talking to myself and pretending people would ask me questions, and I'd be like, oh, well, hey, you do this, or here's a good story. And it obviously, if anybody saw me, they'd be like, that guy's insane. He's talking to himself. But it was what I needed to do to prepare. And a lot of times I'd be up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd be up at 5 o'clock the next morning to get ready, to go to work, to stand on my feet all day, to teach adults, especially teachers. They're a tough crowd. But now I have to change my whole way of thinking because now I have to practice sitting down. So see, I'm just sitting down right now. I'm practicing. So you're helping me. So thank you. But keeping that all in thought, in mind, I had to organize, figure out where things were accessible, but also I had to practice like a lot. So every day I practice and I practice and I practice and I practice. And even when I think I have it wrote down really well, I practice more. It's the same thing with a sport or anything else. Practice is really important. Putting forth effort is really important because I look at it this way. If you're willing to sit in front of me for 50 minutes and give me your time, right, in a regular school situation, then I think it's important that I give you quality time. I put forth the effort to make sure you're learning the best you can. on the flip side, because I prepare for you, or have, that you put forth the effort when you're in class. So the reason why I'm telling you this is twofold. One, no matter what class you're in, high school, college, middle school, grad school, PhD, whatever, anyone that is giving you information and teaching you has put forth all kinds of efforts that you just don't see behind the scenes. Um, just like you guys work at night, we don't see all the effort you guys put in behind the scenes. So I think if we have a better understanding of one another and having empathy towards each other's situations, I think your schooling could be a lot different, because you'd be like, well, the teacher probably took a long time putting this lesson together. And we would say, looking at the quality of the work, they probably took a long time doing this. They probably maybe redid their answers or whatever it might be. So we want to have a better understanding of each other, because I think it'll help both of us. Organization, preparedness. But here's the thing. If you are doing things, it's okay to feel nervous at times. Like, I've done this a bunch of times, and I still get very nervous when I present the first time, because I feel like, you're being judged all the time. So you want to make sure you deliver everything. So there's definitely nerves involved. And I know from my own personal experience, I always think of whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and it increases my own personal stress level, and causes problems. And the reason why I'm telling you that is that don't panic over things that are out of your control. So if you are doing something for school and you're doing your part or doing whatever it is, you can only control what you can control. Usually I feel like we as adults and people, we spend a lot of time freaking out and panicking and stressing over things that we have zero control over. So if we have no control over it, what's the point of stressing about it? And so I have to tell myself that quite a bit, but I'm trying to share this with you is because you don't need to panic about things until it's time to panic. And hopefully you won't have to panic about things. It's thinking about stress reduction. It's thinking about breathing techniques, listening to music. It could be going for a walk. It could be talking it out with somebody. Because I feel that there's plenty of stress in the world, right? So let's not add to it. So being organized, being prepared, and trying to maintain and manage your stress, so things, you don't get all upset. And because you're going to be doing things in school, you'll be working on projects, writing papers, if you're doing DBQs or thesis papers or capstone work or whatever it might be, I think it's very important that you manage your time, you prepare, you practice, you do everything that you need to get done, and try not to stress. Because what happens is you have that self-fulfilling prophecy, like, this is going to be horrible, it's going to be terrible, I'm going to freak out, and then you do. So you want to make sure you try to keep that in control. Now, keeping that in mind, if you see someone in your house that's happening to, help them out by cutting off that stress, like stopping them and changing their thinking. So I'll give you an example. Here's a tip that you can do for somebody. I'm just going to go for a walk. I need to stretch my legs. So, like 15 years ago, oh, see, there's the air conditioner. 15 years ago, I had a horrible case of the hiccups. And my buddy Tim just like randomly was asking me all these like questions, about like years prior. And I'm doing a lot of this. As a gnat, like, And I'm like trying to process all these questions. Like, it required a lot of thought. Hey, you remember when you were 10 years old and this happened? What was that? And you're just like, oh, geez, let me think about that. Oh, geez, I remember that. And then out of nowhere, he's like, hiccup. And I couldn't. What he did is he made my brain not even think about hiccuping, think about something completely different, and it totally stopped my hiccups. And I've done this to my students many times, and it works every time. And I feel like that same principle could be to, like, if somebody's stressing out, get their mind off it, start talking about something else, think about something, good times, whatever it might be. Like, if you see your parents stressing out, the last thing you want to do is say, hey, can I have something? Hey, can you do something for me? Because then they're just gonna be like, ah. You don't want that. Talk about something like, hey, I was just thinking about, do you remember when we did it? Oh, that was such a nice day. I mean, something positive, right? And sometimes you have to know to walk away. Like, when I'm practicing and preparing and I feel like my brain can't take another sentence, I walk away. and I go get a cup of coffee. I mean, not that you should have coffee, but you just take a step away and get your brain a little refresh. Just like when we do brain breaks. Sometimes you got to do a brain break, okay? So, see, if I could have my thing down, I would show you another brain break, something fun that I learned. But I'll see if I can figure this out. Next time you're at home, try this one with your parents. Take your left hand, and you have your left hand go up like this, okay? You're gonna take your right hand, and you're gonna go side to side. Now, you're gonna try to do it at the same time. Now, I can't do it because of my phone, but see if you can have your left hand go up and down while your right hand goes side to side at the same time. I'd be curious if you could do it. So yeah, give that a shot. But the last thing, excuse me, that I'm gonna say before it gets too dark out here is that everything you do in life, right, that matters to you, really matters. Give 100% effort. Give 200% effort if that's even possible. And I know some of you might say, well, I don't really care about school. It's not important to me. It should be, because school is more than just learning content. It's more about learning your facts. It's more than that, okay? Because if it wasn't more than that, so many people wouldn't have missed school as much as they have, right? And they wouldn't want to go back as much as they do. So keeping that in mind, you think about connections that you make with people. Think about how many deep discussions you might have had. Think about how the life skills, like, okay, I'm walking in a crowded hallway. How do I get through these people without being rude? You know, if I need to get someone's attention, what do I do? You know, if I'm troubled about something, who do I talk to? Like, these are all skills you learn in school, right? You learn time management. You learn organization. You learn coping mechanisms. You learn studying techniques. You learn how to read people, okay? I know you know how to read teachers. You know, some people know what it is that a teacher is looking for, just like we know what maybe certain adults are looking for. You know when to say something, when to not, when to listen, when to give your opinion. These are all skills you learn in school, so you should always give 100% in all that you do. Because here's the thing, it comes down to this. If you value yourself, which I'm hoping that you do, then you should know that getting an education, okay, is very, very important, okay? You should always want to learn things. And that doesn't mean you just learn them in school, okay? Because have you ever had this happen to you? Like, I'll see something in a movie or whatever it might be, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who that is. So I'll look up the actor, or it'll be like a documentary, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who's playing this person. Oh, that's kind of neat. I wonder what really happened to this person. And then next thing you know, I'll be researching this person's life or an event that happened. And then I become more informed. It's because I wanted to learn more. So always try to learn more. Always keep your mind engaged in the world. Because I just think that getting an education is important. I think caring about yourself is important. Now, I don't mean caring about yourself in order to be like selfish. I mean brushing your teeth, eating healthy, exercising, playing, spending time with family, giving yourself mental breaks. That's what I mean by taking care of yourself, because a happy you makes a happy home, right? If everybody's doing what they can to feel good and healthy, it really makes a much different environment. I know in my house, if my kids don't get a lot of sleep, you know, because they're like, can we stay up later? Can we stay up later? And then all of a sudden they're like crabby. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's because you're tired. Because we're the same way. We don't get enough sleep. We're just like, can I have a snack? No! You know, and just like, whoa, relax, Dad. I just asked a simple question. So we get grumpy too. So as this week progresses, okay, so I'm nervous. Tomorrow is my first day presenting in a while. Hopefully things will go well. And tomorrow will be a later check-in too, and hopefully I'll have some hair. Not probably not, because I'll probably shave it off. But maybe I'll have a little more gray. So I do hope you have a wonderful night, and until our next check-in, my friends, peace out.